In this video, we're going to continue the menu functions part 1. And what we're going to do here is we're going to add a little bit more to the display menu. Then we're going to create a value returning function that returns the choice of the user. So to start off with, let's go and we'll add a third choice. Cout press 3 to do both. So now we have a choice. Do we want to put something like this? Here, and notice no end L, or do we want to put it in the actual call that's going to get a value returned? So we're going to leave it here for right now. And I'm going to see, we have what is your message, display message, welcome. Okay. So what we're going to do here is we're going to create a new function, and it's going to be an integer, and it's going to, we'll call it get selection. Now, we're not passing anything here except a string. So let's pass a string. And you'll see why in a minute. So are we getting the little thing? No, we're not. So we'll just right click, choose Control Enter. And we going to call this prompt. And we will, this is get selection. And we're not going to be able to return 0, otherwise we have a problem. So let's create a integer called selection. Initialize it to 0. Then we're going to do cout prompt space and in here. And then we're going to do a cin selection. And then we will return selection. If we don't change that from 0 to get selection, what's going to wind up happening, or selection, what's going to wind up happening is the only thing that's going to ever be returned is a 0. So now what we need to do is we need to check to see if we're returning the right value before we start doing error checking. So I'm going to close this here. And let's create a display menu, and let's just create another integer here, which is different than the other, and we'll call it selection as well, doesn't matter. And we have display menu, then we'll do selection equals get selection. And what we'll do here is we'll do please enter your selection now, whatever you want to enter here. And we have display menu, so let's comment this out. And we have get selection here. We're going to display prompt, so let's do cout. We don't want this, we want prompt. No spaces and no end line. So this prompt is just this. So whatever we type in get selection, so let's call get selection a second time. and we'll do it with a different and let's see what happens. So enter your selection now. This is the first one. Please enter your selection now. So let's enter 3. Now it says, please enter a different selection now. So we'll do 3 again. And what is your message? Hi, and we're good. All right. So at this point in time, you can see how we can pass our own personalized selection in there. But you could do whatever you want. You could do a default in here, but you could also pass a different one. In other words, we could do get selection and we could do a default one, but let's not get into that right now. Let's go now and make sure that we have a valid number. So we have 1, 2, and 3. Now, this is just strictly so you can see how to use global constants. So let's create a constant, and I always recommend doing the global constants, either all of them before or all of them after the prototypes. Either way is okay. I normally do them after the prototypes. So I'm going to put in a constant integer, and we'll call it, and this will be 1. And then we'll do highest equals 3. So now what we can do for our prompt is please enter your selection, and we'll do between and we have to be very careful in here. So I'm going to do this wrong. So I want to show you, you cannot do this. You can't do it because the reason why you can't do it is because we're looking for a string. This is not a string, this is not a string, and this is not a string in here. So for right now, let's go and just do this here. And there are ways to overcome that, but we'll do that in different variables. So let's just do enter your selection now. And I'm going to comment this out here. What we'll do here inside it is we want to make sure it's a valid selection. So what we'll do here is create a Boolean, and we'll call it, let's just call it invalid selection. Whether you choose valid or invalid is your personal preference. So I'm going to do a do while loop. So do while invalid selection. So we're going to keep doing this until the user gives us what we want. In this video, we're just going to keep it very simple, and we're not going to print out anything spectacular. So let's go and do, put the CN in here. So now we need to check to see if the user typed in a invalid selection. So our two choices are invalid selections is equals the first one, and this is going to be an or, not an and, selection is less than lowest. Now notice that lowest is visible because we made it global, but we don't have to worry about it because we cannot change it. And then we want or selection is greater than highest. So now we don't have to do anything. So this is going to work as long as the user keeps putting in bad numbers. Then we'll just add to an error message to make it a little bit more appealing. So let's just run this program right here and see what happens. So it's telling us to add a selection and we need an extra space. And let's put in 5. Okay, well, it's not letting us do it, so let's put in -5. Let's put in 0. Let's put in 3. And then what is your message? Hi. So that works. So we're good. So let's take a look at what we did. We passed a prompt. So we're going to put in get selection. What is your message? And please enter your selection now. So that puts in the space here. So now what we can do here is put in anything that we want. So we're checking to see if it's a valid selection. If it's a valid selection, then it's going to just return the selection in here. So we have over here a selection. So let's go and choose selection equal get your selection now. And let's do cout. You chose to make sure that we're getting the right results. So I'm going to do this twice. And let's do it 3 times. And let's just make sure that we're getting the same result all 3 times. Meaning the correct result. So we have it 3 times in here and we're good to go. And let's just go here and see what happens. So we'll test 1, 2, and 3. So first time we're doing 1 and it says you chose 1. Now let's do 2. You chose 2 and that works. You chose 3. And what is your message? Hi, and we're good. So that's a simple way of getting a selection. So we're going to then do it a little bit more sophisticated. So you'll see what I'm talking about in the next video. What we're going to do in the next one, we're going to modify this get selection to tell the user what's in need. So we'll pass, please enter your selection. But what we'll do is we'll leave out the now. Please enter your selection. And in here, for the get selection, we're going to display the prompt. And then we're going to put between lowest and highest. I think we might have time to do that real quick. And we'll just do this. So let's run this real quick and see if we get the right results. So notice it says, please enter your selection now between 1 and 3. So what I want to do, just one more thing. Notice it has between 1 and 3. We're going to do this. So why are we using constants? Why, this 1, 2, and 3? What happens if we add another menu selection? What happens if we add 5 more menu selections? So now we have press 4 to do this, press 5 to do this, press 6 to do this. All we have to do is change this to say 5. Nothing else. We don't have to change anything in the menu. We don't have to change anything in our function call. And we don't have to change any, well, we have to change in the menu, but we don't have to change anything in get selection. So let's try it one more time and see what happens. Now this time, it's going to allow us to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So let's just do 5 here. And it works. So let's do 6. And it doesn't work. And we'll do 4. And we'll do 3. And then we're done. So that takes care of all of that. So hopefully this was helpful for you. Looking forward to your comments.